The movie kicks off in one of the most dangerous prisons in England, and we can say in the whole world, my friend. We currently see a 19-year-old young man arriving at this prison to be locked up. But wait a second, who is this guy? This, sir, is Eric Love. He was supposed to be locked up in juvenile detention his whole life because he killed a man while he was in a care home, because that man was, sorry for what I'm going to say, harassing him. So Eric couldn't stand the whole situation and consequently killed him. Currently, he's past 18 years old, so of course he was transferred from juvenile to the prison here. In any case, we see that as soon as Eric enters the prison, the guards start doing their jobs, like searching him in the most insulting ways you could see in your life to make sure, that he's not hiding a weapon here or there. After they finish everything they're doing, they put Eric in his cell. When Eric enters the cell, the first thing he does is bring a razor that was with him and takes out the blade. After that, he brings a toothbrush, breaks it, and sticks this blade into the toothbrush so he has a weapon like, say, a shiv or a knife, so Eric can use it at any time something happens this way or that way. When Eric finishes making his primitive weapon, he opens a light fixture that was in the cell and hides this weapon in it for when it's needed. After that, Eric sits in the cell and keeps working out here and there and this way and that way. When he finishes, he tries to light a cigarette he had with him, but unfortunately, his lighter is broken. So he stays sitting there, frustrated. After a while from all this, one of the guards comes and lets Eric know that it's lunchtime. And of course, Eric goes out of his cell to join the prisoners for food. As soon as Eric comes out of the cell, he sees one of the prisoners lighting a cigarette. So he asks him to, use his lighter, and in return, he'll give him another lighter along with his own. But the prisoner refuses, so Eric gets annoyed, but he doesn't do anything and walks away. After that, Eric goes with all the prisoners to the cafeteria to get their food, and the one giving them the food is a dangerous prisoner named Jago. Eric sees, by the way, that this Jago is putting the food for him while not wearing gloves. So he picks a fight with him, but Jago doesn't even care at all and tells Eric his cell number and lets him know that if he wants to, brawl with him, then he should come to him there, far away from the people here. But of course, the guards intervene now, my friend, and move Eric away from the place. Consequently, from this moment, Jago has currently become Eric's first enemy in the prison. In any case, Eric returns to his cell and starts eating his food. When he finishes his meal, he goes down to the yard. He keeps watching Jago as long as he's in the yard and sees that Jago is selling drugs to the prisoners, but of course without anyone knowing. The point is that Jago also sees that Eric is watching him and decides that he'll deal with him, but what exactly he'll do, we'll find out later. After that, the most dangerous one of all the prisoners here, named Neville, comes to Eric. It's very clear that Neville knows Eric, and he tells Eric now that he knows he doesn't like the prison, but he must try to blend in with everyone here and not make trouble. After that, without more talk, Neville leaves Eric and walks away. Later on, we'll also find out together what the deal with this Neville is anyway. The point is that when Eric finishes his time in the yard, he returns to his cell, and of course, he's tired, so he sleeps. And here the problem happens because the prisoner Eric asked for a lighter from before, if you remember, comes now to Eric while he's sleeping and tries to wake him up to give him the lighter he was asking for. And indeed, Eric wakes up from sleep. Without introductions, he wakes up and hits this prisoner, and the prisoner falls injured and unconscious. At this moment, Eric sees the lighter in his hand, so he's shocked and realizes he only came to give him the lighter, not coming to attack him or something like that. So of course, Eric is scared that this prisoner might die, so he quickly carries him and goes with him to the guards and puts him there, telling them it was just an accident and that he didn't mean to, hurt him at all. He leaves this prisoner to the guards after that and runs to his cell. At that time, the head of the prison guards, named Haynes, arrives at the spot. You need to know one thing about Haynes, which is that he's a real piece of work, and if he puts someone in his mind, he literally destroys them. Currently, he hates Eric after what he did and decided to put him in his head. In any case, Haynes takes his soldiers and guards and they go to Eric's cell. Haynes looks at Eric and finds him putting oil on his body. So he knows, of course, that Eric is doing this to get ready for the brawl that's going to happen now with the guards. So quickly, Haynes sends in 3 guards to Eric to control him. But control who? Eric literally makes fried potatoes out of them with the oil on him and keeps hitting all 3 of them until he manages to control one of them and puts a knife to his throat after that, letting everyone know he'll kill this person if they don't get away from him. Of course, Haynes orders all the guards to get away from Eric completely. After that, Haynes talks with Eric and asks him to let the guard go, or he'll have problems. So Eric lets him know he didn't mean to hit the prisoner who was with him, and the matter was an accident, nothing more than that, and he must believe him and not think about doing more. So Haynes lets him know he believes him and orders him to let the guard go. So Eric actually lets the guard go, and here you see nothing but darkness because Haynes sicks the rest of the guards on Eric, so they finally control him and take him to lock him up in solitary confinement. While the guards were taking Eric to solitary confinement, everyone passes by a cell or a room where a psychological meeting for some prisoners is being held. This meeting is led by an officer and a psychologist at the same time named Oliver Baumer. The point is that when Eric and the guards pass by the room where Oliver and the prisoners are, Eric exploits the opportunity and hits the guards and manages to control one guard among them and bites this guard in a spot. I can't tell you what it is. But the important thing is that Eric warns everyone that if they get close to him or deal with him with violence, he'll finish off the guard he's controlling until he kills him or causes him a disability. At this time, Haynes and the guards order Oliver and those with him to get out of here completely. But Oliver knows that if he gets out of here, then Haynes and his men will gank him and keep hitting him until they kill him. So Oliver lets Haynes know he won't leave from here until he guarantees they let Eric return to his cell again, and he lets them know he's a witness to anything that happens to Eric here. At that time, Haynes agrees to Oliver's talk while he's annoyed. So Oliver talks with Eric and asks him to let the guard go now. So Eric actually agrees and lets him go. And at that time, Oliver takes him and returns him himself to his cell. After a bit, the prison governor named Kadu arrives and meets with Haynes and Oliver. The first thing Kadu does is reprimand Haynes because he transferred a dangerous prisoner like Eric to the prison without her knowledge. Kadu starts, by the way, to feel that Haynes is working behind her back in a bad way and doing whatever he wants and treating people well for those he likes. I mean, literally going with his own mind. This is a fact, by the way, but the important thing is that currently, Oliver tells Kadu that he wants to add Eric to his group and make him attend the psychological meetings to correct his behavior and change him because this is surely, the most important role he can do in the prison. In the end, Kadu agrees to Oliver's talk, and they summon Eric after that and offer him to join Oliver's group. But Eric refuses and keeps mocking all of them, so they return him to his cell again. Despite what happened, Oliver insists on adding Eric to his group and that he'll be able to change him. So Kadu and Haynes agree if he can, convince him, and they told him they agree on one condition, which is that if Eric does anything wrong this way or that way, he'll be kicked out of the group completely. And at that time, Haynes will have full freedom to deal with him in the way he wants. So Oliver is forced to agree to this condition. A conflict will start between Oliver and Haynes. Later on, we'll see who wins. After that, Oliver goes to Eric and offers him again to join the support group, but Eric strongly refuses. So Oliver leaves him, but he hasn't given up, honestly, and intends to try with Eric all over again. On the other side, we see the prisoner named Neville, if you remember, going now to a few other prisoners and threatening them that his money they bought drugs with must be returned quickly, or else they'll be sorry. He leaves them after that and goes to meet a prisoner named Dennis. Dennis is supposed to be, a very, very dangerous prisoner, and he's the one controlling the prison here and all the prisoners in it. Not just that, no, he also controls the guards and the head of guards, who is Haynes. Everyone here works for him. Even Neville works for him and distributes his drugs in the prison. We also find out that Dennis is supposedly the one who pressured Haynes to transfer Eric to the prison here. And that's why Haynes transferred Eric to the prison without Kadu's knowledge. Well, wait a second. Why did Dennis want to transfer Eric to the prison here in the first place? Quite simply, we find this out when Dennis and Neville talk together. We find out from their talk that Neville is actually Eric's father, but he was away from him a very long time ago when Neville entered prison, and Eric at that time was put in a care home. So they were away from each other because actually Eric's mother wasn't there either at that time. But currently, Dennis lets Neville know that his son is making a lot of trouble in the prison and that Haynes and the guards want to get rid of him. But Dennis is the one currently stopping them until now. Dennis tells Neville after that he must find a solution with his son and control him, or else he'll have to let Haynes and the guards finish him off. So Neville agrees to Dennis's talk and goes to Eric's cell and talks with him. He lets him know that the guards here are completely different from Juvenile and that they can't stand him, and if he continues the trouble, they'll kill him and make the matter look like he killed himself. They've done this to many prisoners before, so the matter won't be any problem for them to do again with Eric. Neville lets him know that if he doesn't straighten out and stay away from trouble, he'll be the one to deal with him personally. Neville leaves after that without another word. But do you think, my friend, that Eric will stay away from the trouble he's making? The answer is no. The biggest proof of that is that as soon as Eric left his father, he took himself and went to Jago's cell and completely trashed it and also stole a lighter from it. After that, he took this lighter and went with it to the prisoner he hit before, gave it to him, and asked him, not to be upset because he didn't mean to fight with him. After a bit, Jago found out what happened in his cell, and of course, he went crazy. He went out to all the prisoners and let them know he'd make whoever entered his cell sorry if he found out who it was. Of course, Eric sees all this and is happy. But after a bit, we see Jago standing with one of the prisoners and asking him to go to Eric, hit him, and teach him a lesson because he feels he's the one who robbed him. But just teach him a lesson. Don't kill him. So the prisoner pauses and leaves Jago and walks away. After that, we see that Neville takes Eric and brings him to Oliver's group to attend the meetings with Oliver and the prisoners with him to change his behavior. The important thing is that Eric attends this meeting and gets to know the prisoners in the meeting, who are 4: Des, Haas, Ty, and finally, Ryan. The important thing is that Eric sees this meeting as something very, very trivial, so he doesn't care about what they're saying and decides to be difficult with everyone. When he finds out that smoking is forbidden, he takes out a cigarette and starts smoking it. At that time, Oliver asks him to throw this cigarette away because it's forbidden here, but Eric refuses. So Neville enters the meeting and forcibly stops Eric from what he's doing. He leaves the place after that and goes out again. At this moment, Oliver and everyone find out that Neville is Eric's father, and of course, they're very surprised. But the important thing is that Eric was fuming at what his father did during the meeting and went to the guard standing guarding the meeting and hit him because he was the one who let Neville in here. At that time, the guards gather in the place, but before the matter escalates, Oliver stops them and lets Eric return to his cell in peace. This move Oliver did with Eric and his help for him for the second time makes Eric respect Oliver a bit. When Eric returns again to his cell, the prisoner Jago had sized on Eric, if you remember, comes to him. This prisoner is with 2 others, all of them masked so nobody knows who they are. They keep hitting Eric without mercy. In this moment only, and by Eric's luck, Haas, who is in Oliver's group, manages to see him. So he goes to Eric and helps him, hitting the prisoners who attacked him. 2 of them escape, except the prisoner who came by Jago's order. Eric hits him and takes off the mask and finds out exactly who he is. Eric wanted to kill him at that time, but Haas stops him and lets this prisoner walk away quite simply. After a bit, Eric goes to Haas and Ty, who are sitting in one cell, and asks them why they helped him. So they let him know that Oliver is the one who taught them to help others, and they advise him, to go back and attend Oliver's meetings, and he'll be a completely different person and better than them. So Eric thinks about the matter for a bit and decides to do that. At that time, Neville goes to Eric and lets him know he doesn't want him to be friends with Haas and Ty because they are, black people, and they shouldn't be friends inside the prison. Neville also asks Eric to stop going to these meetings because he'll appear as a weak person. So Eric talks to his father and lets him know that he's the one who sent him to these meetings from the beginning to now wanting to keep him away from them. Neville finishes his talk and leaves Eric and walks away after we found out that Neville is literally, the least that can be said about him is that he's a mentally ill father. After that, the next day, Oliver comes to Eric and asks him to return to the meetings once again because they're beneficial for him. But Eric refuses, so Oliver keeps trying to convince him until Eric actually gets convinced. He goes to the meeting with Oliver. When he enters this meeting, one of those present named Ryan mocks Eric because he ran away from the meetings, fearing his father. This is what makes Eric furious, honestly, so he fights with Ryan. At that time, one of those present named Des intervenes to, stop Ryan, and this is what makes Haas furious, so he fights with Des. In short, Eric's presence in the meeting literally ruins it. Because of that, Eric feels his mistake, so he calms everyone down and apologizes to them. At that time, they all sit again and forget all these problems and continue their meetings. We start to feel like Eric is changing bit by bit. In any case, after a not long time, we see that the prisoner Eric hit goes to Jago and tells Jago that he promised he'd give him money after, he attacks Eric. When you complete your mission and actually make Eric sorry, I'll give you money. Overall, after that, Eric is looking for his father Neville and goes to Dennis's cell. He finds Jago standing with him and finds out this way that Dennis works with Jago in distributing drugs. Keep this info in mind, my friend, because it'll matter to us a bit later. The important thing is that after that, Eric goes to the cell Neville is in and sits with Neville. Eric talks with Neville and lets him know he's happy in the meetings he's attending and doesn't want him to, interfere in his affairs. Eric doesn't wait for Neville's response at all and walks away. After we see that Eric attends a new meeting and real change starts showing on him because he started interacting with the rest of the prisoners with him and talking with them with love and so on. But the important thing is that Eric doesn't just get close to everyone in the meetings. No, he hangs out with them in general. Like for example, he goes with Haas and Ty to the gym and keeps training with them. This fuming Neville, as we know, because he doesn't want his son to get close to the black people in the prison. But Eric doesn't care and continues training with them normally. When Eric finishes what he's doing, he goes to take a shower. At that time, the same prisoner Jago had sent comes to him this time. The prisoner tries to kill Eric, but Eric manages to hit him a heavy hit too. At that time, Eric manages to control him and says he'll kill him or there's another solution. This prisoner tells Eric exactly who sent him. Eric goes completely crazy and goes to get his shiv that he made at the very beginning, if you remember. He goes with it to Jago and keeps wounding him and asks him why he sent the prisoner to kill him. At that time, Jago gets scared of Eric, so he lets him know that Dennis is the one who asked him to send someone to kill him. Eric gets more and more furious and leaves Jago and goes to Dennis, who was currently sitting with Neville. He tries to hit Dennis, but Neville stops him. Dennis asks why he came here and did all this. So they let him know that Jago said he sent him. Dennis gets annoyed because this didn't happen and brings Jago now and asks him why he lied to Eric. Jago lets them know he wanted to keep Eric out of his way and sent someone to kill him. But when he couldn't kill him and Eric knew Jago was the one who sent him, he had to lie so Eric wouldn't kill him. Jago asks Dennis for forgiveness for using his name, but Dennis refuses to forgive him and lets him know the business between them is over and kicks Jago out of the place. After that, Dennis sits talking with Eric and lets him know he doesn't want to kill him at all and that he must stay completely away from trouble because what he's doing will affect their business, and business is a red line. So Eric agrees to Dennis's talk and they agree, and a peace truce happens between them like that. After that, we see that Neville sits with Oliver and tells Oliver what exactly they're doing to Eric in the meetings and how they're able to control him in this way. But Oliver lets him know they aren't doing anything, nor are they controlling him. They're just talking. He offers him to, try attending their meetings and see for himself, but he doesn't care. So Oliver leaves him and walks away. After that, we see Eric going to attend a new meeting, and when he finishes, he goes to sit with Haas and Ty. This is what makes Neville furious when he sees him. So this time he brings Ty and asks him what they're doing in the meetings and how they brainwashed his son in this way and managed to control him. So Ty laughs and lets him know they're just talking and he can attend the meeting himself and see. So Neville decides he finally must attend these meetings and understand what's happening in them. And indeed, in the first meeting after that, Neville comes. But Neville doesn't have the intention to attend the meeting to listen and so on. Rather, his intention is to ruin the meeting. So he keeps clashing with everyone until Oliver kicks him out of the meeting. After Neville was kicked out, everyone keeps blaming Eric because his father will stop their meetings for them with these black deeds of his. Of course, here Eric is the second one fighting with everyone, and the world goes to hell. Generally, Kadu and Haynes come after that and let Oliver know that Eric won't attend any meeting again because they had agreed that if he made trouble this way or that way, he wouldn't attend any more meetings. So Oliver is forced to give them Eric so more problems don't happen to him, and they end up stopping these meetings for him. But generally, Oliver goes to the bathroom and Haynes comes to him. Haynes starts, taunting him because he proved his point of view and that Eric is a failure and can't be changed. Haynes lets Oliver know that he too failed with Eric and must admit it. This talk makes Oliver go crazy, so he fights with Haynes, and at that time, of course, Haynes fires Oliver from the job completely. The meetings end forever after what happened, my friend. And with Oliver being fired, Eric knows that all this is because of his crazy father Neville. He wants to get revenge on Neville, so he goes to fight with him. Dennis comes and tries to solve this problem, so Eric gets more and more furious and hits Dennis himself. Of course, this is a huge disaster. So guards enter and take Eric to solitary confinement. At that time, by the way, Neville tries to stop them, so they take him too to solitary confinement with his son. Haynes goes to Dennis and tells him to kill Eric for getting ahead of himself and thinking about hitting him. So Dennis stands up to finish off all this mess completely. At that time, Neville is in solitary confinement, as we know, but he knows Dennis will want to get rid of Eric, his son, after what he did. So he decides to get out of solitary confinement by any means to stop Dennis and ask him for forgiveness. So what does he do? Neville asks one of the guards, his friend, to open the cell for him because he wants him for something. So this guard comes to him and asks him what's up. Right then, Neville hits him and makes him pass out and puts him in his place on the bed. He comes out of the solitary cell and goes to Dennis and asks him not to kill his son Eric. But Dennis had taken his decision already and knew Neville wouldn't accept something like his son's death and would try after that to get rid of Dennis. Dennis pulls out a knife after that and tries to kill Neville. But Neville is stronger and keeps hitting him and takes the knife from him and is about to kill him himself. So Dennis lets him know that Haynes and the guards went to kill Eric and that he can catch them if he wants. So Neville lets him know he'll catch them, and without introductions, he stabs Dennis and kills him. After that, he goes like a madman to his son's cell and sees Haynes and his guards there while they're hanging him to lynch him, and the matter looks like a suicide. So Neville hits the guards and finishes them off. After that, he was about to kill Haynes. So Haynes gets terrified and unbinds Eric and leaves him alive and leaves the cell too and runs. As soon as Eric wakes up after a bit, he sees that Neville is the one who saved him from death and starts for the first time feeling he loves his father. And thank God the matter passes. After a few days from all this, we see Eric in the prison hospital having regained a bit of his health. Haas and everyone now tell him and encourage him to get better, to get out of here and return to them because they miss him. This makes Eric happy, who now sees in Haas and everyone that they're his real family and the people who will help him to really get out of here. After that, the new prison governor comes to Eric, and this is the governor who came in place of Haynes, who was fired after his black deeds. This governor currently takes Eric to say goodbye to his father Neville, who will leave from the prison too and be transferred to another prison. And for the first time, Eric tells his father he loves him and loves him as a father for real. He lets him know from here on out he'll change and will be able to get out of here as a second person, as a better person. So Neville is happy with his son Eric's words and says goodbye to him and leaves on the hope they meet once again, but outside the prison. As for Eric, he returns to the prison again to spend the rest of his sentence, but as a better and peaceful person and intending to really change to get out of here in peace. And with that, our movie ends.